Shalom Alechem. I'm going to give you the option to stand, not to stand, whatever you feel like doing, but we will model how it is up at the front. I'll rely on you, singer, Fat Clan over there, and you can follow and join in. Page 6.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem l'shalom, Bohem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Harmony l'shalom, harmony l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zehem l'shalom, Zehem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So welcome to our Shabbat Resouled band. Welcome to all of you at home. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. I'm going to ask us all in the sanctuary to stand, to get ready. We are asking our own Zoe to light candles tonight. Zoe marks 4 years within our congregation, of which she has contributed so much. And I am delighted to ask you, Zoe, to come up and light Shabbat candles. And those of you at home, this is your moment to transform your kitchen, your living room into the synagogue sanctuary, and to join us and to find your candles ready to light. As Zoe lights candles, let me invite us all to just think of one thing in our lives, one intention that allows us to bring Shabbat in, no matter how crazy, perhaps mixed, perhaps sad, perhaps challenging this week has been for us, perhaps joyful. Just take a moment to think what it is that you feel that you are intending or dedicating yourself to. So,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chagit shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to offer a Shehechianu before you leave the sanctuary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehechianu v'higianu v'kiyamanu lazman hazeh.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Let's sit down as we go straight into Lachadodi on page 9. to the Baruch Hu, straight to our public call to prayer. Having welcomed each other, welcome Shabbat. I invite you to stand. If you're in the synagogue, you'd like to, you're able to. Please only do so if you're comfortable doing so as we turn to the Baruch Hu on page 10.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai,
the Shema and mark the changing of light and seasons, and for us here the change from summer last week to something entirely different at the end of the week, which we are used to, but nonetheless prayer calls us to notice these changes around us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah potech sha'arim uvidbona meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umasadeh et hakochavim b'mishmartehem, barakia kirtzono, boreyom v'layla, golelo mipnei choshech v'hoshech mipnei or, umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 11. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
אל תשארו ועשיתם לכל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים. להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And as we say together these words, do join me in reading our affirmation that the words of the Shema, our watchword of faith, are words we can rely and depend on. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors, delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name. We gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule, and full of joy we sang together.
מי כמוך
כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום עמידנו מלכנו בחיים ושמות צאתנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה
Thank you, Resouled. So a reminder to those who are newcomers, visitors tonight, that this is our very special Shabbat Resouled band, and Dean, our musician in residence extraordinaire, has written much, if not all, actually, it feels like, all the music. So you may recognize the prayers, but not the melodies, but it only takes a couple of times before the melodies for these, which we hear once a month, become almost part of our rhythm and our Jewish life. Indeed, there are generations now of children from our synagogue who think that this is the music according to Mount Sinai. So one of the minchagim that we know, those of us at home praying and here, is that you stand when you're ready for the Amidah, for the tefillah. So as the band serenade us, to ask us, invite us to open our lips, that our mouths may declare praise. Do so when you're ready, and we will join them for the Amidah, the standing prayer. Again, stand if you can. At home, do whatever feels right to make this moment sacred and special for you. אתה אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. זוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Sit down if you'd like as we mark Shabbat together.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam v'shamru
Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat. We're on the top of page 18 as we hope and articulate that our prayers somehow have brought us together or had some effect for us. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu b'yamcha Yisrael u'tefilatam b'ahavat tekabel u'tehilu ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha baruch ata Adonai she'otecha levadecha b'yera na'avod. And as we offer Modim Anachnu Lach, our blessing for gratitude and appreciation, our minchag is that those at home can share in the chat as if you were leaning over to someone in the sanctuary, as you might do with the people you've come with, what feels good this week for you, what feels uncomplicatedly pleasant that you can offer thanks, appreciation for, And we know what gratitude does to us, not just our hearts and our souls, but our bodies too, that living with gratitude only improves our lives. So share something, think upon something, reflect upon something that you feel grateful for this Shabbat. We thank and praise you for being our God and God of our ancestors. We can always rely on you and feel safe. We thank and praise you for caring for our lives, for connecting our souls with you, for the miracles of life, wonders large and small, that remind us you are here every moment of every day. We praise you, our God, and joyfully thank you for all life's goodness. Adonai Oseh Shalom. So as we take a moment for silent reflection or prayer, just a moment for ourselves, I should just say that there is much gratitude in the chat for you, Shabbat Resouled. As Paul said, who needs Glastonbury when they have Shabbat Resouled? But just so nice for me to see the community comforting, celebrating with each other and offering much love to each other on the chat. And I hope all of you in the sanctuary have found something that feels good for you this week. For me, I feel so conscious this week of two particular firsts that have shattered their way into the Jewish world. The first is she is going to call herself Rabbi or Rabbah, Dr. Lindsay Taylor Gerthards, who has been a teacher for a long time at the London School for Jewish Studies and has taken the step, as have many other Orthodox women in front of her, to achieve Orthodox smicha at Yeshivat Maharat in New York. And right now there's a gentle controversy about how she'll be able to use it here in London, whether she will be able to continue teaching at the London School of Jewish Studies. But as she said so gently, with such grace and poise yesterday on Women's Hour, who would have thought Women's Hour was interested in women rabbis and Judaism? But they are, which is note to all of us. And she said, it is just at the beginning, that everything takes time. Every new step in our lives, every new mountain that is climbed or glass ceiling that is smashed takes time to get used to, and she did so graciously. And so for me this week, I feel incredibly grateful for her and for women like her that choose to stay within side Orthodoxy, not to move into progressive Judaism, but to make their changes within. And I wish her, and along I'm sure with many others, a hearty Mazal Tov. Another first is that Rabbi Amanda Beckenstein Mabuvi is the first woman of color to lead a rabbinic school, the Reconstructionist rabbinic school in the States. And I think every step that we take within the Jewish community of expanding, of growing, of stepping forward is so in line with what Judaism is meant to be, which is about constant, thoughtful, pushing forward, improving, challenging ourselves. So I invite you either to reflect on those two moments of initiative or perhaps something else in your life, but just take a moment now just to reflect.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to tell you that Beverly has LinkedIn.
Sarah, we're just going to mute you because you're not muted. So just to continue our moment of silence. Thank you, guys. I'm going to ask us to stand for the Elenu Prayer now. Elenu L'Shabbat L'Adon HaKol is the prayer where we look forward to a future that we are part of making better. Dean.
Elenu L'Shabbat L'Adon HaKol Latet Geula Le'yotzeh Bereshit Asher Sam Elkeinu Le'aked Shemo V'nor Aleinu L'hamid Malchuto V'nor Aleinu L'hamid Malchuto Anaknu Korvim U'mishtachvim U'modim B'fnei Melech Malkei Amlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Noteh Shamayim V'yoseh La'aretz U'mashal Yekarov B'shamayim Imav U'shkinat U'tzov V'kolei Meromim U'Eloheinu Einot Emet Malkeinu Efer Sulato HaKatuv b'Torato V'yadata Hayom Asher Hodah Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim B'shamayim Imam Ve'al haaretz mitachat Einot Einot
So let's stay standing as we gather as a congregation for Kaddish. We think particularly this week of those who are marking and mourning yahrzeits at this time. We think of Jack Miller, father of Rosalind Miller, of Ray Rubenstein, mother of John Rubenstein, grandmother of Joanna Letterman, and of Selina Schulman, mother of Barbara Schulman. Zichronam levracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may those who recall and remember their loved ones be comforted in their loss by the words of memories and comfort that others share with them. Let's turn to the words of the Kaddish together. We are on page 23. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yamal divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'hayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Magala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mavorach le'olam omer maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithada v'yithale v'yithalal shemed kudusha brichu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol b'nei adam. V'imru amen. Let's sit down as we have our final piece of music, which is a blessing for all of us. On page 17, you can find Vayisimcha, Yivarechecha, the priestly blessing, which has been put to music by Dean, of course, and allows us not just to bless our children, although if you happen to have one with you, that's an extra special bonus, but actually just to bless each other as we do so in our community. We've been blessed. May God bless us, look after us. May God look kindly upon us all and be very gracious to us. May God reach out to us in tenderness and give us peace. Let's stand, sit, whatever you feel like doing, as we have a kiddush that is just going to allow you to go home and make your own kiddush, but it just feels that we want to do that moment. Those of you at home, I'm just having a quick look at the screen to see who has challah, wine, Graham, whether he's in summertime yet and is moving on to Bacardi, as he does in summertime, Friday nights. So let's stand ready for Kiddush. You can smell some cooking for an outdoor dinner for our younger folk in the synagogue who are having dinner tonight. We are very pleased that you're here.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom tehillah lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'chata, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. And challah for us all, although not looking and not eating quite yet. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. This is a record-breaking number that we've had for the past 16-17 months. So it bodes well for our slow return to normality. So I'm going to encourage you to come out now, and I will escort you, and I'll come back and say Shabbat Shalom to those of you on screen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.